Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing my TBR for the month of September. The first couple books that I want to read I don't have with me because I only had a copy of the first book, and the next two I know my brother has them at my parents' house, so I might borrow his, otherwise I might try and get them secondhand if I happen to see them. It's the next two books in the His Dark Materials trilogy. I read Northern Lights last month and really loved it, so I can't wait to get into the rest of the trilogy. So I'm going to read The Subtle Knife and The Amber Spyglass, which are the next two books in that trilogy, and I'm so excited for them. I read them first when I was a kid, like years and years ago, so I can't really remember the plot of what happens in each one, so I'm really looking forward to that so much. I highly recommend that series if you haven't read it already, and there is like a new book, it's like a prequel kind of, coming out in the next couple of months, so I'm really excited about that. The other books that I want to read this month are kind of just a random selection. I was kind of just looking on my shelf and seeing what I felt like reading. One of them is a random as one. It's Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. This is the like original collection of Winnie the Pooh stories, and the reason I want to reread this was because Amy from Shout Amy, she's one of my favorite booktubers, she talked recently about how she reread this and found it really funny as an adult. She said that it's one of those children's books that appeals to adults as well because there's like a lot of humor in it and things like that, so I just thought that I would really like rereading this one. I thought it would be cool. I just noticed that as a kid I made a little library ISBN number to put on the back of this book, which is really nerdy, but there's another children's book that I want to read this month, which is Stormbreaker by Anthony Horowitz. This is the first Alex Rider book, and I got this in a secondhand store a few months ago, and I just have never read this series, so I thought I would start with this one and see how I like it. I think Alex Rider is like a spy kid. Yeah, super spy. He's recruited by MI6, so I think this will be like super action-packed and like really fun. The next book I want to read is a reread as well. There are a whole bunch of books on my shelf that a few months ago I did a video talking about how some of them I don't know if I want to keep them or unhaul them, so I need to reread a lot of them to see if they're like favorite books or if I can let them go. So one of those is My Bookie Book by Russell Brand. This is one of Russell Brand's books. It's like an autobiography type thing, and I remember enjoying this. I just can't remember how much I enjoyed it. Like, do I enjoy it enough that I'm gonna want to reread it? So I'm gonna give it a go this month and see how I feel about it. Another book I want to read this month is a new one. It's another Jonathan Kislev book. He sent me 3 of his books, and I read one last month that I quite enjoyed, so I'm looking forward to reading this one as well. It's called My Quest for Peace, and it's basically his own book about being a peacemaker in Israel. The next book that I want to read this month is a classic that I read the first chapter of this for the try a chapter tag ages ago, and I really enjoyed the first chapter, so I'm looking forward to reading more of this. This is All Quiet on the Western Front by Erich Maria Remarque. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's a German name, I believe. But this is a novel based on the author's own experience in, I think it's World War II. He was on the German side, which is really interesting to me because obviously a lot of German war stories are kind of like villainized, because at least in New Zealand most of the perspectives we get on World War II are like the British perspective. I'm really looking forward to reading this book. I know it's just basically a commentary on how terrible war is. The last book that I want to read this month is one that's also based around World War II, and it's called Alpine Ballad by Vasil Byko, and I don't know how to pronounce that name either. The author is Belarusian, which is a country that I don't know much about, but this is another book that's published by Glagoslav, which is a publisher that has sent me books in the past to review. So this one is a novel about World War II again, and it's about a Belarusian soldier who escapes from a concentration camp with an Italian woman, and it's kind of like a love story when, you know, times are tough. So that is all of the books that I'm hoping to read this month. If you've read any of them, let me know that in the comments down below because I'd love to know your thoughts, and let me know if any of them sound interesting to you as well, and I'll see you guys with another video in a couple of days. Bye.